Hello YouTube and Patreon, this is Nathan P. Butler, and this is our project update for the month of June 2022. I'm going to try to keep it short, but I always say that, and it never happens. But I'm recording this in the evening. My son has reached sort of a phase in which he is incredibly clingy. So rather than being able to usually record when someone else is watching him in another room, now if I leave the room, he flips his crap. So we are kind of at the point now where recording is going to be difficult. It's going to probably be at night once he's asleep if I can do it without waking him up. May not be able to be quite as bombastic, although those days are mostly behind me anyway. It just kind of depends on how that whole weird phase works itself through. I'm told it is normal and it will go away in time, but right now he does not like me leaving the room. We are in the middle of summer school session right now. We hit the halfway point actually tomorrow, June 22nd, and then it's 3 more weeks to finish that up, and then about 2 weeks of actual break before on August 1st, I believe it is, we are right back into the mix, right back into the mess, I suppose, to use Maz Kanata's phrasing, to get into fall semester here. But things are kind of rolling along as one would expect throughout the summer. So, first off, we're going to take a look at what has been released through Patreon, but before I do that, let me thank all of you who are backers over there on Patreon. That is patreon.com/NathanPButler. We have the travelers through the Butlerverse who get shoutouts in videos like these, primarily in the credits, but while it's a manageable number, I'll try to say them all out loud as usual. We have David Bittner, John Sullivan, Kai Jacoby, Story Mode, Travis Cook, Justin Richard, Jeremy Goss, Ben Abrams, Michael Torson, Jacob Kapoor, Tony Jenkins, Kevin Kriener, and Austin Pierce. We then have the Denizens of the Butlerverse. That's the tier that gets the audio commentaries added into the mix here twice per month at least. Typically twice per month on the 1st and the 15th, but if there's a special series like what I'm going to be doing with Visions Season 1, that kind of stuff just kind of comes out as sort of a separate thing, sort of a separate bonus, so to speak. These folks include Craig Clayton, Jeff Rabjohns, Matt DeRocher, Walker Langstrat, Kyle Pellegrini, Joey Zitzman, Stephen Malicia, Robert Medina, Bobby Craig, Jeremiah Mustard, and Jaina Keller. Sorry, maybe a little bit out of breath sounding because my allergies are really kicking my butt. Between heat and allergies, it's not a good time to be around Georgia at the moment. Then we have the Nobility of the Butlerverse. Those folks get the shout-out, the mentions here, and they get the commentaries, and they get the exclusive Q&A video every single month. Those include Connor Steierman, Matthew Hardesty, Ennis, Jonathan Converse, Sam Howard, Andrew Bettis, Aaron Melzak, and Benjamin Handelman. And those tiers, for those who are unfamiliar with them, are the $1, $5, and $10 tiers over on Patreon. And no, I have not made any decisions yet about the future of the Patreon after the Clone Wars commentaries are finished being released on April 1st, 2023. Still trying to decide that, but it is going to be April 1st. Although, it has been suggested that since that is April Fool's Day, maybe that shouldn't be the day to end it. Maybe I should do some type of like recap type thing, since I will probably have time to do it. I don't know if that means like do a recap of seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as separate episodes, or do like one big sort of, these are my final thoughts on having had a chance to go back and rewatch the Clone Wars, or what, and when that would be recorded if I do something like that. But there is a possibility of that would wrap things up instead of on April Fool's Day, on tax day, April 15th. So we'll just have to see about that. That is something I have quite a few months to decide, though, so I'm not really feeling pressed on that issue very much right now. As far as new releases go, though, if we jump into the Patreon, basically, since the last of these updates, the last update was pretty late. It was on May 29th, so it's not quite been a month yet. It's been a little over 3 weeks. We had the commentary for the Clone Wars An Old Friend on June 1st. The commentary for the Clone Wars The Rise of Clovis on June 15th. That is just recently here. We also, of course, had the Nobility of the Butlerverse get their exclusive Q&A, which was Q&A number 53, which was released on June 7th. Oh, I apologize. Have to edit this in later, but it's actually Q&A number 54, not 53. As far as scheduled posts, though, so on July 1st, we'll have the commentary released for Crisis at the Heart. That will wrap up the Clovis arc of Clone Wars Season 6. July 15th is Clone Wars commentary for The Disappeared Part 1, and on August 1st, The Disappeared Part 2. That'll wrap up the Jar Jar and Mace Windu arc of Season 6. Somewhere in these, of course, we have the Q&A episodes for Nobility of the Butlerverse, but those aren't on set dates. But these are all recorded, edited, and set up, ready to roll. On August 15th, we start the final arc of Season 6 with The Lost One, continue that on September 1st with Voices, then on September 15th with Destiny, and October 1st with Sacrifice. That'll finish up Season 6 of the Clone Wars. Then on October 15, which is 2 days shy of the 5th anniversary of the Patreon launching back on October 17 of 2017, we have the commentary for the first chronological episode of Season 7 of the Clone Wars, Gone with a Trace. Then on November 1st, Deal No Deal, which continues that Ahsoka's Walkabout arc. Then Dangerous Debt on November 15, and on December 1st, Together Again. And then I have already recorded, edited, and prepared the episodes for the first 2 episodes out of 4 in the Bad Batch arc that chronologically is the middle arc of Season 7. That is the Bad Batch on December 15th. And yes, the first commentary of 2023, January 1st's A Distant Echo. Sometime in the near future, I will be recording the other 2 for that, and then the final arc of the Clone Wars before launching into taking my notes and doing the recording and everything for Star Wars Visions, which now turns out to be Star Wars Visions Season 1, because there's going to be another season, which didn't know at the time that I committed to doing at least the first season of Visions. But suffice to say, lots of commentaries recorded, ready to roll. I'm just waiting for the opportunity to record a bit more. I'll be done way in advance of the final episodes being released heading into next year. Again, if I've calculated correctly, it'll be April 1st, 2023 as the last episode, unless I do some kind of end cap that isn't really a commentary, more so just kind of an opinion piece or something like that. Those are all, of course, over on Patreon, but most of my stuff at this point is over there on YouTube. So what's come out on YouTube since the last update? Now, the biggest thing, of course, for me on YouTube is from the Star Wars Home Video Library. We had episode 438 come out shortly after the last of the updates, actually released the same day as the last update, May 29th. And that was a look at the different Australian 2022 box sets, which are a little bit different than some of the other regions. Then we had episode 439 looking at a Turkish dubbed VCD of Spaceballs, kind of an oddball there. And on May 30th, alongside the release of the Spaceballs episode there, we had Q&A number 8 from the Star Wars Home Video Library. Still don't have enough questions really yet to do a new mini Q&A. If I have time tonight, if my son stays asleep, I may actually get a chance to record a new Q&A from the Star Wars Home Video Library, though. So keep an eye out for that, hopefully, crossing my fingers and everything. Then we had episode 440 from the Star Wars Home Video Library on June 15th, along with 2 others. 440 was about the Phantom Menace music audiovisual press kit U-matic copy that I have, that I recently acquired thanks to Patrick Jason Collier, and then also from him. Then in 441, we had a Walmart 48 Hours of the Force, congratulations, champions, weird kind of internal VHS cassette. And then thanks to Christina and Walker Langstrat, we then had episode 442, taking a look at the Canadian version of the 2-episode Droids Volume 1 VHS from 1990. I actually have recorded quite a few more episodes. There's one on the VHS release of The Stars of Star Wars to compare that to the DVD release. VHS releases for Star Wars, A Galaxy Far, Far Away. Let's see, there's one on some other Family Guy Star Wars stuff that I didn't have until Matt Fry passed them along. And I finally did a big episode on Thumb Wars to sort of kick off this weird, we're going to get into parody territory, a little bit more type niche of stuff. Those are recorded. I got to edit them and get them out, so it's going to be a little bit probably for those still, just in terms of time. So a lot of stuff coming soon, just not quite yet. Got to wait for some of this stuff to arrive and get a chance to dig into that stuff. But thankfully, I do have some episodes already recorded. I just need to edit and get out there. They're short for the most part, and they're not sort of mainstream content for the most part, but they're recorded and I can kind of work on them as I get time here and there. As for writing, nothing really new with me. A Saga on Home Video 2nd edition is still doing well over on Amazon, which is awesome. At least, well, from my standards, of course. Let's see. I did get a chance to work on the spreadsheet a little bit. I had promised that since there's no checklist at the back of A Saga on Home Video 2nd edition like there was in 1st edition, it was just going to be too huge, that I would put together a spreadsheet in Excel of my collection as I'm tracking it and then share it with others if others want to use it to track theirs. Still a long way to go before it gets released, but I made some decent progress here in the last week or so. We do actually have a book to look at here, but it's not one of mine. This is a book by Richard Wolosky over at Skywalking Through Neverland that he put out recently. I mentioned it previously here on one of these episodes, one of these update episodes, I believe, but didn't get a chance to show it to you yet because it hadn't gotten into my hands yet. I want to show you that now real quick. Came in a nice bag in the mail. Do you know what happened? Today in Star Wars history, with the web address down there. It is skywalkingthroughneverland.com/book if you're looking for this. I got the hardback signed version. It's a really cool book. Today in Star Wars, I'm really into the idea of sort of the real world history of Star Wars, especially now that I've gotten into that so much with the home video stuff. But I'm not an expert on it by any means. So, I like reading stuff like Star Wars Year by Year because it gives me new information or just reminds me of stuff that I may have forgotten. I just dig that kind of stuff. This takes it to a more granular level, to a day-by-day level. And this is part 1 covering January through June. So we have a Today in Star Wars History, Part 1, January to June. Your daily Star Wars history lesson by Richard Wolosky, forward by Craig Miller. Lots of cool images there. We're not going to treat this like a home video release per se, but I'm going to show you the bits and pieces here. I'll read the back in a moment. Cool little bookmark relating to it here. My copy is signed. Hey Nathan, thanks for being a trendsetter in Star Wars self-publishing. May Star Wars history be with you. And it's signed by both Richard and Sarah Wolosky. And then you have color-coded entries here for different days. So like I'm recording this, let's just jump to June 21st, which is the day that I'm recording this. So June 21st here, you would jump to a page for the day, and for example, he's got one here from 1979, which deals with the principal photography, shooting for the carbon freezing chamber scene for The Empire Strikes Back. 1999, Star Wars The Power of Myth, beginning its 3-month, 13-city tour in Dublin, Ireland. 2006, the International Licensing Industry Merchandisers Association naming Star Wars the overall best license of the year. And then tomorrow you can flip to the next page and read it. Just really cool stuff here. I really kind of dig this kind of thing. That said, I will say, for the sake of full disclosure, I am one of the people who is thanked in the acknowledgments for kind of early work within the whole Star Wars self-publishing thing and providing insights into that whole process that led in part to this. I did say I'd read the back, by the way. I'm not going to read all the quotes by people, but it says, over 1,000 fun facts and trivia. Journey through the year and learn thousands of Star Wars fun facts and important real-life occurrences that have shaped the past and will shape the future of the franchise. From Star Wars A New Hope to Disney Plus's Obi-Wan Kenobi. When did The Empire Strikes Back open and in how many theaters? When is Natalie Portman's birthday, and on which classic actress did she base Queen Amidala? When did the series finale of Star Wars Rebels air, and what character was introduced in the epilogue? When did the Walt Disney Company buy Lucasfilm, and for how much? Find out all these answers and more in this tome, which includes countless personal and professional pictures illustrating these events. Today in Star Wars history goes beyond the event and includes exclusive interviews from the saga's cast and crew, authors, and fans. Even more unique insight comes from the first-hand experience of the author, Richard Wolosky, who attended press events and interviewed cast and crew for Skywalking Through Neverland podcast. With hundreds of fun facts and monthly trivia, this volume will keep you entertained and will be a tool to help with your own Star Wars research. What happened on your birthday in Star Wars history? Turn the page and find out. I will when part 2 arrives. My birthday's in October. But a cool one, you can get it in hardback or paperback. I don't know if they're still offering signed ones or not, but just a cool thing to check out. Again, I've acknowledged in it, but nothing personal to do with it at all. Just a fun read, and I wanted to share that. Anytime there's a fan out there putting something out that I think is worth your time, I'll try to mention it if I happen to get my hands on it along the way. So finally, with that, if you are only interested in stuff that I am pushing out, or things, in this case, I guess, that I would recommend, now is a good time to stop and head on out, because we're just going to dive into the what are you reading, playing, etc., right now. So thank you all for your interest. If you're going to hop out now, I appreciate it. If you're sticking around, let's roll through. So we start out with what are you reading? So I have finished Star Wars Brotherhood. Fantastic read. I definitely recommend it. It is a great bridge between Attack of the Clones and the beginning of the Clone Wars cartoon series. I would almost say it's essential reading. It is probably the best Star Wars novel I've read of the current canon, right alongside Lost Stars, which I think is still kind of the top for me, and Dark Disciple. So definitely one to check out there. Also just finished reading a review copy of Shadow of the Sith. Wasn't quite as enthralled by Shadow of the Sith, but I do think Shadow of the Sith is now essential reading to help with the backstory of Rise of Skywalker. So definitely one to check out there as well. I'm also in the process of getting caught up on Star Wars comics. I just finally powered through Star Wars Adventures, which I'm just not a big fan of, and got through the first half or so of whatever it's called, Han and Chewbacca, or whatever the series is called now. So I guess next I'm going to be catching up on the main series as part of the Crimson Reign stuff soon. Let's see. Beyond that, what are you watching? What am I watching right now? Movie-wise, I need to sit down and watch the second Venom and watch Morbius, now that I have them digitally. But I haven't had a chance to do so. Primarily, I have been blazing through watching The Witcher Season 2 that I hadn't watched before. Oddly enough, I've been watching a lot of board game playthrough type stuff recently, particularly for things like Outer Rim and such. More on that in a moment. My wife and I are keeping up with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Strange New Worlds, and trying to keep up with the Orville somewhat. I'm kind of wondering where Orville's place is now in everything, given the fact that really it was the classic feel of Trek when Trek wasn't giving us the classic feel with Discovery or Picard. But now we got Strange New Worlds. Do we need the Orville? Especially when the Orville is leaning away from comedy and more towards just regular Trekky looking stuff. But whatever, so we're checking that out. I've been watching Ms. Marvel, things like that. But yeah, so what are you watching? A lot of, kind of the same stuff that I've mentioned before for the most part. Let's see, what are you playing? What am I playing? Right now on PS5, I was playing through some Cyberpunk 2077. I haven't had a chance to get back to that very much recently, really anything on PS5 recently. My wife did get me the new Lego Star Wars for Father's Day. A little bit early for Father's Day, so I played a little bit of that so far, but I haven't had a chance to get too much into it. I'm liking it for the most part, but I find myself getting nauseated sometimes by how close the camera angle is on the third-person shooting segments compared to what I'm used to. Or maybe it's the bobbing of the... I don't know. Something is getting me with that. Meanwhile, VR doesn't get me like that at all anymore. And then really not a whole lot on Oculus Quest 2. I think the last thing I played was a little bit of Green Hell. On Switch, haven't touched that in, seems like ages. Actually, on mobile devices, I'm now playing a bit of Hero Realms, which is a card game. I had actually backed the digital Kickstarter for the digital version of Hero Realms. I really enjoy the physical version. The digital version's pretty good. I think the current campaign mission that I'm on is a pain in the ass, and kind of unfair, but that's okay. I think I'm always going to feel that way about some mission on some deck builder app in some form. And then physically, really the only thing I've had a chance to play recently, but that I've played several times because it's really, really good, is Star Wars Outer Rim. I've had the original Star Wars Outer Rim for quite a while, hadn't played it in a while, but the new Unfinished Business expansion adds a ton of stuff and really sort of revamps things, makes the AI better, lets you play against AI bounty hunters, doubles the number of characters, the number of cards in most of the decks, changes some of the mechanics. It's a really, really nice upgrade. So if you like Outer Rim, you definitely want to get Unfinished Business to put with Outer Rim. It is a fantastic expansion for that game. Then there's What Are You Backing, which I think is the last one here. Not backing anything currently, but recently backed Thornraver Battle of Solus, which is basically a tie-in to the universe of Master of Wills in which I appear, and I believe I actually appear in that same artwork on a card in Thornraver, which will be pretty cool. Also backed a game called Survive Until Daylight. But otherwise, that's it. Just now waiting on a bunch of stuff to come in as things are coming in, like Steel Slayer, the Reckoner Steel Slayer expansion came in recently, for instance. So just kind of waiting as stuff trickles in, and every once in a while I'll back something new, but for right now, there just isn't really anything on the radar, at least not as of this moment. And with that, I think we're done. Not a super short episode, but, moving along at a decent little clip here, I suppose, so I should be thankful for that. So thank you all for your interest in the projects and whatnot. Again, more episodes from the Star Wars Home Video Library that are recorded will be up sometime in the near future. I'm going to try to record the Q&A right now as time permits. And I will see you guys in a month, by which time summer school will have ended and I'll be in what little exists of an actual summer break for me. Thanks, guys, and have a good one.